So where we left it off, we discussed, in the first couple of parts, we discussed the key main stats and the principle around rolling those stats. Now we've got to look at a couple of secondary stats that are critically important. They're going to be built off those main stats, and it begins a process that will be useful for later on, particularly when we talk about skills that will come later on in the series. Those secondary stats are speed and health. Now, I'm going to have speed built off two stats, which is going to be strength and manipulation, and the way that it's going to work is you add those stat scores together. So an example would be simply if it was strength and manipulation added together and they were both 10, that would make 20, divided by the amount of stats you're using, which is 2, which means the final score for speed would be 10. 20 divided by 2, simple as that. Now if we take health, I want health to be between 3 stats, built between 3 stats, and that's going to be strength, attunement and luck, and divide that by 3. Now again, the same formula applies. If you have an odd number, you round down in every process. So nice and easy and very neat. But this is already telling us something. By taking this route, there are a few key clues coming out for me as a designer. The first one is that this needs to be, my instinct's telling me it's a levelless system. It's not level based. That means it's going to be built off the principle of the abilities, the skills, the magic, etc. You would use your experience to buy those and develop the character. I kind of like it. It's a nice middle ground between the two camps, and I think it will work very well. But it is open to debate. Of course, have a think about that. There's no harm if it's not the route you think we should go. I would like to hear your thoughts and feelings. Now, to flesh the character out, if that's the route we go down, we need to understand how much experience is available to the characters at the very beginning of this process. I've had to crunch the numbers a few times to come up with something that sort of fits and works with the ideas going forward, and this is as follows. We would take IQ and luck, add the two together, divided by 2 and round down. So let's give a principle of it. Let's assume that IQ and luck added together was 20, divided by 2 is 10, times by 500 experience points. So somebody would have 5,000 experience points to use for their character to build off. That sounds like a huge amount, but again, that's not a problem because we're going to be looking at some other factors later, and that will make sense in the building block that comes. I tweaked and looked at numbers ahead and started thinking about it, and it just made so much sense. Now you might ask yourself, and it's a great question at this point, is it fair to do something like that? Well, I think it is, because from an old school point of view, it is the luck of the dice. Not everybody is the same, I'm afraid. We are all built differently. But both characters can focus their eggs in one basket equally as well. No one is going to be, even though somebody might have more, they can't outmatch if that's the skill route you go down. So it's actually very fair. The only thing is they'll probably have more skills, or whatever they decide to go down. I don't think that's a problem. But you can't focus everywhere. The nice thing is that as you crunch the numbers, it will work out very nicely. And everybody's got the same opportunity to know where those key stats are. They can put the points wherever they want to do. They can put their actual stats wherever they want to go. So I think it's perfectly okay, perfectly fair, and a nice middle ground for everybody. But it does leave some interesting questions. So there we are. Those are the fundamental first steps, critical first steps. Let's recap them while we've got a couple of minutes to play with here. So we've talked initially theme and tone. We've discussed the 5 stats. We've discussed how to do a simple array of stats, what we're looking for. We know that the crux number that we're looking for is 3 to 18 for those stats. We've got a couple of secondary stats that are going to be important to the building process, that being speed and health, and how that will relate to the stats that were rolled. And we've also worked out someone's education and how many experience that would give. And education is a reflection, because it's a fantasy game, based on who they were brought up with, the sort of things they're exposed to, that sort of thing. So luck does come in a little, and I kind of like that. It's kind of neat. So those are the first few steps. I hope you like what you see. I'm massively looking forward to seeing what you think of it and your thought processes around it and any suggestions and ideas that you have. And obviously, of course, the whole point of this series, to really be a success and to really make it work, you have to follow along. And your comments are going to mean a lot. Now, if you have something that you want to say that is, don't think anything is negative, as I said earlier. Every idea could be very valid. But it's not just about being negative, it's about giving some constructive thought process. If you think something isn't right, you need to try to come up with something you think could be better. I will consider all the ideas that come in. And in the next video part to this series, I will update you with any changes we've made based off people's suggestions. And obviously, if the weight of the suggestions take the game in a different direction, so be it. That's what we'll do. but I'll guide it. I have to be the guide to make it work. So there we are, the beginning steps to this RPG that we're building. Anyway, I've been Sean Connors. This has been Let's Build an RPG, an Outsiders program and series. I hope you've enjoyed it. I look forward to your company next time. Take care of yourselves and happy gaming. This video series will continue again a week today, giving you a full week to think about it, come back with suggestions, and we'll see where we go from there. Take care of yourselves. Look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.